.5 FM. Kaieteur Radio.
Hello, thank you for tuning in to Kaieteur Radio. I'm Kevin Smith and welcome to your news at noon. These are the top stories we're tracking. Lawyer urges President Ali to disclose quantities of free oil used by oil companies. Guyana's oil boom leads to highest incoming traffic in the Caribbean as U.S. State Department predicts 160,000 jobs in coming years. Meanwhile, oil company chased out of Houston changes name and sets up chemical facility at Macdoom. And foreigners assault teacher after owner closes bar. In the Kanji Block 12 well campaign, EPA to conduct public hearing next month. Meanwhile, GRA to relocate headquarters, no tax breaks or waivers offered to contractor. And despite COVID-19 concerns, GPHC cardiologist urges heart patients to visit hospital, says failure to seek treatment can result in severe complications. Stay tuned to stay informed.
Hello, hi. Let me show you something lit. Get your free touch now with me. Tell me video and voice calls. Discover and get, and that's not all. Cash and prizes for all of us. It's exciting, it's fabulous. Translate, populate, locate, innovate, but shh. It's a secret, no need to keep it. You won't see me here again. 3, 2, 1. I'll see you in a bit. Download the app now for chat.
And now for the news in detail. International lawyer and staunch advocate for the protection of the environment, Ms. Melinda Janke, sent President Dr. Irfaan Ali a letter yesterday urging him to disclose the quantity of free oil used by ExxonMobil and its partners, Hess Corporation and Sinnock Petroleum Ghana Limited, from the Stabroek Block's Liza Phase 1 project. Janke said Guyana's share of the oil, when calculated, is not from total oil produced. As such, she asked that the relevant minister, being Vikram Bharat, publish the following: the total amount of oil that has been produced from the Liza Phase 1 development, a monthly breakdown of the total amount of oil that Esso, Hess and Sinnock have taken under Article 11.9 since 2019, the total amount of cost oil, and the total amount of profit oil. The lawyer said these figures should be readily available since Annex C, Section 5 of the Petroleum Agreement, entitled Production Statement, requires the contractor to submit monthly production statements to the minister showing the gross quantity of crude oil and natural gas produced and the quantities of crude oil and natural gas used for the purpose of carrying on petroleum operations. Meanwhile, between 2013 and 2018, travelers from the Caribbean were recorded as having the highest increase in migration to Guyana when compared to those from Venezuela, Europe, and the USA. This is according to a recent report from the International Organization for Migration titled Planning for Prosperity, Labor Migration and Guyana's Emerging Economy. The study was a first of its kind that investigated how labor management and labor migration, with an emphasis on fair and ethical recruitment, factor into Guyana's future considering the recent economic growth due to its new petroleum sector. It was noted, and I quote, "The labor study attributes these travel to trends Guyana's emergent oil and gas industry and subsequent sectors, where it is estimated that up to 160,000 jobs will be in demand in the coming years, far beyond the supply available in Guyana." And moving on, a company that services the oil industry was chased out of Houston by residents in 2019 when it tried to set up a chemical facility near their homes. Now, that company has changed its name and set up a new operation at Macdoom. The company, now called Champion X, was Nalco Champion back then. Nalco had wanted to set up its chemical facility on land owned by John Finance Limited at Area K, Houston, and construction had started by the joint venture. Houston residents kicked up a ruckus about the use of the land for industrial purposes when they observed that a structure was being built. They said they were given the impression that the land there would only be used for commercial purposes. Additionally, no environmental impact assessment was done. Champion X's McDoom facility was commemorated by a ceremony last Thursday in the compound. It was attended by Exxon's production manager Mike Ryan, as well as Prime Minister Mark Phillips and Finance Minister Dr. Ashni Singh. As had occurred in 2019 with the Houston facility, no environmental impact assessment was done. The EPA said it was not required. And now let's tell you, the EPA recently announced that next month it will be holding a public hearing into ESSO's 12-well exploration and appraisal campaign in the Kanji block. When ExxonMobil sent its application for approval several weeks ago, the EPA had announced that no environmental impact assessment will be required. But this only attracted scathing criticisms from several industry stakeholders who are of the view that the project will have a significant impact in terms of emissions released on the environment. In light of this, the agency will be holding a public hearing to listen to the concerns and inquiries raised against its decision. The public hearing, which is set for October 14th at the EPA's head office at Ganges Street, Sophia, Georgetown, will involve representations from the appellants, the developer, and other key stakeholders. And now let's tell you, a 29-year-old teacher was hit on the head with a glass bottle while he was out drinking with his friends at a bar located in Lenora, West Coast Demerara, last Sunday. According to reports, the victim and 3 of his friends were at a bar having a drink when around 21 hours, the bar owner notified a group of men and women believed to be foreign nationals about the closure. The 4 men and the 2 women started to behave in a disorderly manner as the teacher asked them to desist. A scuffle then ensued between the victim and one of the suspects, causing his chain to burst and his t-shirt to damage. When the owner proceeded to put them out of the premises, the 4 men started to pelt glass bottles, one of which hit the victim to his forehead. Subsequently, they entered a white Toyota 19.2 and made good their escape. You're listening to Kaieteur Radio 99.1 and 99.5 FM. This is your news at noon. We will return after the break.
This is GHK Lal inviting you to join me weekdays from Monday to Friday on the National Outlook for commentary on a range of issues. Immediately after the 12 noon and 7 p.m. newscasts on Kaieteur Radio at 99.1 FM and 99.5 FM. Looking forward to you sharing in the conversation.
Welcome back. Let us continue with the news. GRA is relocating its headquarters to Pattinson, Greater Georgetown, according to a recent notice published by the authority. In that notice, GRA said in its notice that it intends to apply for the procurement of consultative services and as such, hereby invite to submit technical and financial proposals for providing service which could form the basis of future negotiations and ultimately a contract between one contractor and the procuring entity, GRA. The terms of reference and additional supplemental would be provided to potential bidders having purchased the bid documents. And interesting news, fear of COVID-19 has been one of the reasons that several heart patients have not been sticking to their clinic dates or visiting the hospital when they need treatment. This worrying state of affairs was highlighted yesterday by an interventional cardiologist at the Georgetown Public Hospital Corporation, Dr. Michael Chin. Failing to seek timely medical attention, he explained, could result in severe complications. Dr. Chin noted that the delay in seeking medical care by these patients has not only been occurring locally, but it is a trend studies have found in other countries as well. The delay, he said, is due to the people's fear of developing COVID-19 or being exposed to it. It was revealed that patients with heart attack, stroke, and other medical emergencies, if they delay medical care, can lead to more complications and untimely death. In other news, a 57-year-old businesswoman is currently before the court for misappropriating her friend's $5 million superbet jackpot. The defendant, Wendy Callender, a resident of Tushen, New Housing Scheme, East Bank-Essequibo, was charged last Friday with larceny by Bailey, which simply means that she was solely entrusted with money to carry out a specific task but fraudulently converted the cash to her own benefit. She made her appearance at the Wales Magistrates Court on Friday before Magistrate Faith McGusty and pleaded not guilty to the offence, which alleges that she fraudulently converted her friend Devin John's superbet jackpot winnings to her own use. The magistrate granted her $100,000 bail, and she is expected to make her next court appearance on October 10, 2021. Meanwhile, yesterday, the Ministry of Health reported that 10 or more persons who contracted COVID-19 have died. As a result of this, Guyana's COVID-19 death toll has moved to 772. The country's latest fatalities are that of 7 unvaccinated persons, a fully vaccinated person, and partially vaccinated persons, and one whose vaccination status is unknown. Meanwhile, 88 new infections were recorded, bringing the total number of confirmed cases to 31,236. Presently, there are 30 patients in the COVID-19 ICU, 134 persons in institutional isolation, 3,743 in home isolation, and 6 in institutional quarantine. To date, a total of 26,557 persons who tested positive for the virus have recovered. And it is time we now move on to the page 7 of the Kaieteur News. The Minister of Health says that over $5,000, more than $1 million Guyana dollars, is being spent for each hospitalized COVID-19 patient. If all that million plus is spent on patient care, we would applaud it. But because Guyana has this long, dirty history with money when politicians and bureaucrats are involved, we listen out for any whispers of skullduggery with the people's money. If spent totally on patients, which sounds reasonable, then we applaud. But since patients and the public have been long shortchanged and shafted by Guyanese governments, we find it hard to trust what politicians say in public. What is usually in private is a different story. And with that, we've come to the end of today's News at Noon. I'm Kevin Smith. Thank you for listening.
Want value for your advertising dollar? Then place your ads on Kaieteur Radio's Newscasts. Streamed live on 6 different mediums, reaching hundreds of thousands. Advertise today and watch your dollar grow. Call us on 225-8465 or 226-8210 today.